Hello, everyone, and welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and I'm by myself today, and this is the WildCard region, and we have a lot to get to, so we're going to jump right into it. First up, we have the match history real quick from CB LOL. The first game was between Uppercut Esports and CMB Esports. I was like, do they have esports as well? But yeah, this was quite a big blowout for Uppercut. It was actually quite a boring game, to be honest, for a while. But Uppercut pretty much had the whole lead until right until they won a Baron fight with 5-for-none. Yeah, 5-for-none with the Baron Infernal. Straight won the game. Again, these are wildcard regions, a lot of regions in one podcast, so we won't get too in depth per game. Next game was Redemption versus Ents. And this was just Redemption pretty much winning the entire game, 17-4. Just huge blowout, 12k gold lead. Good win for Redemption. It was awesome seeing White Lotus carry really hard with the Sivir and the Yuumi bot lane. I really love it's so obnoxious. Yuumi with a lot of ADCs is super obnoxious. Luckily, it pairs really well with a lot of my ADCs. Also obnoxious with the Olaf, especially at level 1. It's an unbeatable combo. Next we have Kaboom versus One Esports, I believe they're called. I believe it's One Esports. Nope, Team One. Dang it. I'm trying to memorize all the team names here. But yeah, Kaboom took a very good victory. We're leading the whole game. They showed the pike top. Very fancy. And your duds on the Varus. I'm actually just starting to learn Varus on my own. After 5 games, I'm in love with the champion. I haven't been in love with the champion this much since Jhin. And if you've watched the podcast, you know I really love Jhin. Next, we have PNG versus Pain Gaming, and then CMB. And this one was actually a complete throw. CMB had a gigantic lead. It's about not gigantic, I should say, about almost 6k gold lead here. And then they completely threw. They lost a complete team fight right as like Elder Drake was spawned. They lost a team fight 4-1, and then instant Elder Drake into Baron. All of a sudden, that 5k gold lead is a 3k deficit, and then they took an Elder Drake and a Baron again for themselves, and then they eventually just lost another team fight off of that. Just too much. The Varus and the Ryze late game and the Nika late game was just too much to handle. Huge. It was a big throw by CMB, who's actually projected to be the worst team. So I was disappointed because you got to get those wins if you're going to be the worst team. You got to get those wins when you can get them. Next, we had Uppercut Esports versus One, and Uppercut finished the season 2-0, or the week 2-0, and just like I predicted, I was really excited. I really like this team so far. I picked them both to go 2-0. Also, we saw this Fitz, this Aatrox was just disgusting. I think he 2v1, I believe, Sejuani also at one point, and it was disgusting to watch. Final Redemption versus Kaboom was actually my first loss prediction-wise in the Brazil. And this was a very close game. It was back and forth for a bit there, as you can tell. Kills. Just a bunch of objective splitting right here. And obviously Kaboom was taking a little bit more. And then eventually Kaboom did win a team fight and then won another team fight around the Baron. Took the Baron and was able to close out the game. It was a very good win. Duds the boy on 5-1-10 on the Aatrox. Or the Ezreal, not the Aatrox. Still had Aatrox on my mind. He had a fantastic game. White Lotus had a very poor game after his Sivir Yuumi game previously. This was Zyra Khan, which I was actually looking forward to. Just did not work. He didn't look very comfortable on it at all. Next, we had Flamingo versus Ents. Oh boy, Ents, man. They had a huge lead. This is 5k gold lead. Yeah, that's not that big. This was 17 minutes of the game. This game, I believe, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was 9-1 to start the game. Like, with an Infernal Drake, multiple towers. This was just all Ents. And then they got the Baron taken from them. Lost the team fight, and then like all of a sudden that gold lead, still in the lead after the Baron and everything. Then they lose another Baron, and then they lose the game. I was really happy with this as someone who picked Flamingo, but man, Flamingo was really on the ropes of Ents all game, but they still ended up winning. I was pretty happy about that. And I believe that was the last one because they didn't play back to back, so I missed a game in there. This was the very first game of the split, I should say. This was Flamingo versus PNG, and Flamingo pretty much destroyed Pain Gaming in the very first game. They were up 12k gold by the end, but as you can tell, it was like a kill here, 4 kills for 1 and a dragon plus another kill. So they aced them for 1 kill, and they got the dragon. Another kill, a little pick there, but then from there on out, it was just all Flamingo in that game as well. Sorry about that. That was supposed to be the first game. But yeah, so I finished 7-1 for Brazil. New power rankings for Brazil. We still have Flamingo number 1. I've moved Kaboom up to number 2 after a 2-0 start. Redemption has dropped down to number 3, going 1-1. I had previously had them at number 2. Uppercut moves all the way up to number 4. Pain drops to number 5. Ents falls all the way to 6. CMB, I thought even though they went 0-2, I thought they played much better than Team 1. So I moved CMB because they should have really won that game against Pain, but they just threw it. So I figured that's enough to give them at least 7th place right now, and Team 1 8th place. Those are the power rankings for week 2 for CB LOL. So now for CB LOL, let's go straight into the predictions. Actually, let me go to LOL Esports because this might be a little easier to see this way. CB LOL, okay. So we have Redemption versus Team 1. Which actually, if I put this like this, can I get this over here? Yeah, perfect. So Redemption, we have them facing Team 1 to start tomorrow. I have Redemption winning that game. We have Kaboom versus Ents. I think Kaboom is just much stronger than Ents, and even though Ents went to MSI, I think that they're going to actually start the season 0-3. CMB versus Flamingo, that's just a rough matchup. That's all Flamingo all day. CMB predicted to be the last place team. Flamingo predicted to be first place. That's kind of just how it goes. Uppercut versus Pain Gaming. Uppercut should be the victor there, I think. That even though Pain Gaming has high hopes, I wasn't necessarily sold on them too much this week. I think they had a really ugly game against Flamingo, and they really should have lost to CMB as well, to be honest. So I liked what Uppercut did in both their matches that they won, so I think they're going to be able to take down Pain Gaming this week. Next is Ents versus CMB. I think that Ents finally gets their first victory of the season against CMB. CMB starts 0-4. Flamingo should be able to beat Redemption. I really liked what Redemption did game 1, but game 2 scared me a lot for what they did. I believe game 1 was also not against I was against Ents, which is not that bad of an opponent, but I think Kaboom really wrecked them towards the end. Their team fighting looked all over the place. So I think Flamingo will be able to handle them. Pain Gaming should be able to take down 1, and I have Uppercut upsetting Kaboom for giving Kaboom their first loss of the season. And that will be all for Brazil. So let's quickly, now that's only 7 minutes, not bad. Let's quickly move over to the OPL, which sadly OPL kind of gets screwed by this format. There's no other day I can put this podcast, so there's only half the day or half the week that goes on, and we're just gonna have to have it happen. It's they kind of get split in the middle of the podcast. So let's go over the games. First, we had Dire Wolves versus Legacy. There's no match history yet for these, but this was actually a pretty close game back and forth. Legacy was actually winning for quite a while, and eventually they just kind of threw their lead over and over again. And Dire Wolves, I believe, had Varus and Rise, and they just were able to stack up and win to late game. Same with Order against the Bombers. It was a pretty close game, but then Order took over towards the end and won the game. Avant was able to destroy Gravitas? Yeah, I believe. Gravatas. I think that's how you say it. But that's kind of what was expected from Avant. And actually, Mammoth pulled up the huge upset at the end of the day against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were winning the entire game pretty much by 10K. I actually spoiled this for me because while I was watching these OPL games a few hours ago, trying to catch up after work, that I was just setting up this podcast, setting up the weeks and my power rankings and everything, and I saw Mammoth had beat the Chiefs, and this was only 5 minutes in the game. I'm like, oh man, I went 7-1 in Brazil. I went 3-1 here in OPL so far, and I was really excited because I thought I was gonna win because it was 3-0 Chiefs already. I'm like, yeah, they were doing good. I predicted them to be the number 1 team this year at the beginning of the power rankings, and I'm like, oh yeah, this should be really good. And then I'm watching the game, okay, they're up 10K. They just secured their second Baron. How do they lose this game? And kind of just ended on Ezreal getting killed. Ezreal just got killed at the very end. Sorry, I don't know the players' names by heart now. At this point, for wildcard reasons, I'm learning at the moment. Only 1 weekend, but yeah, the Ezreal just got killed, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not good. Like they're not gonna be able to end. They don't have the minions because Olaf was like taking the minions, but then that one cannon minion snuck through because of the very smart teleport by the Silas, but the very dumb Olaf play by not going to stop. He went to stop the other waves, but I'm like, there's just a cannon minion. Like that's all. They only need one, and they just eventually had Nautilus and Sejuani tank up enough for the cannon minion to get there. We were able to kill the towers quick enough before Ezreal could respawn. I believe he had like 5 seconds left, so if that cannon minion didn't get there, probably would have been able to maybe fight it off in time. I don't know. It would have been tough, but yeah, it was a complete throw by the Chiefs, which I think that congratulations to Mammoth. They stole a win there. I think they were still down like nearly 8K when they won that game. That's a good steal of a win, and yeah, those were how the games went. Sadly, I did predictions already for last week, like for the next 4 games. So I picked Mammoth over Gravitas. I don't know why I can't say that. I'm having so much trouble with that. Order over Legacy, Avant over Bombers, and Chiefs over Direwolves. I already picked that. I'm gonna keep those predictions because I already made those predictions last week. And now this week, now that I know that I can only pick 4 games, I'm actually only gonna pick the Friday games, and I'll leave the Saturday games till next week's podcast. I still have the Chiefs beating Gravitas this upcoming Friday. I think that was just a throw, and even though I dropped them a bit in the rankings because of it, because it kind of made me upset more so than anything, I think that they'll be just fine. I have Avant beating Legacy. Legacy didn't look very good against the Direwolves. After they started out good and then really fell apart. I have Order over the Direwolves. I think that even though I like the new look for the Direwolves, I don't think it's enough to take down Order. And I have Bombers over Mammoth, which I know it's MMM, but Mammoth. I think that Bombers should be fine against them. They didn't look great against Order today. You can definitely see some weaknesses on the team, losing FBI and their jungler. I can't think of his name, but they did lose some very crucial pieces from MSI, and now that they're going to rebuild a little bit. I don't think they're as strong, but I think they're strong enough to probably take down Mammoth. Because Mammoth really did not look good today until that last team fight, pretty much. They had that six item Sivir versus late game Renekton, Ezreal, and Olaf, and barely snuck it out. 6 item Sivir was just able to delay long enough. Ugh. Yeah, and I forgot to do my power rankings. I have Avant number 1, Order number 2, Chiefs 3, Mammoth 4, Direwolves moves up to 5, Bomber drops to 6, Gravitas 7, and Legacy 8. So with that, those are all the games. Let's get straight into power rankings and predictions for the other regions that are starting up this week. There's only 2 regions that we still aren't going to be talking about that we'll talk about later on. Next week we'll talk about the LJL as they start next week. And Russia doesn't start for like 3 or 4 weeks now. So I don't know why they start in July, but they do. So now we're talking the VCS, which is Vietnam. And my preseason power rankings for Vietnam are Gigabyte Marines number 1 with the addition of Levi and Zeros after Zeros is suspended for the first 6 series of the season. But after that, he will come back and play, and I think it'll be just enough that Gam will be back on top. Number 2, we have Dashing Buffalo, which is previously PvE Buffalo. They're now renamed to Dashing. I think the loss of Zeros does hurt them, but they still have Big Koro, and I was really impressed with Big Koro in the tournament. And Melio Diaz as well. I think that they're going to be really strong still. I think they will still make Worlds, because now Vietnam has 2 World Seeds. Team Flash is number 3. They just rebranded from Sky, or they bought Sky Esports, I believe I saw. And so I think they finished in 2nd last year, and I think our Sky finished in 2nd, and now it's the same team, just different name, and I think that they'll finish 3rd this year, because I have Gigabyte Marines moving so far up. That I have EVOS at number 4. They've lost quite a few players, and I just think that they're just going to be okay this split. Low Key, number 5. VTF, number 6. Cerebus, number 7. And QTV Gaming, number 8. And with that, let's just go straight into predictions because we don't have any matches to go over. So it's still going to be kind of a quicker podcast just because there's not as much matches to go over for all the regions. But next week will be the definite long podcast with this. As you can probably tell, there's a lot to cover. First game is EVOS versus FTV. I think that EVOS will be able to take game number 1. I have Dashing Buffalo taking game number 2 from QTV Gaming. I guess I could put QG there, but QTV Gaming sounds a little better to me, in my opinion. We have Flash versus Cerebus, CES. I think that Flash will be able to take game number 3. I have Gigabyte Marines versus Low Key number 4. I'm picking him number 1. I'm believing in Levi. I'm so excited. Levi felt such a waste on 100 Thieves and such a waste on JD Gaming. So now he's finally coming back to Vietnam. This guy was like my favorite jungler 2-3 years ago for Vietnam, and I was so excited to watch every game of him at Worlds and at MSI. And I'm just like, I'm so thrilled to have him back, and I think he's going to dominate the league again. So I have Gam taking down Loki. I have Loki beating Cerebus the very next day though, and I have Gam facing taking a game off of what's her name, QTV Gaming as well. Actually, I just realized I only need to pick these. It's the same thing as the Oceania. We'll fix that next week. Flash over FTV, and I have Dashing Buffalo over Evos as well. So those are my predictions, and since there's no games, we're going to move on to the next region, which is the TCL. The TCL here is the Turkey League, and they don't actually have their games on here, so I have to actually go to this web's TCL 2019 summer, winter, no, summer. Let's go to the games here. TCL has 10 teams, and my preseason power rankings for the TCL is I have Supermassive number 1, 1907 Fenerbahce number 2, Royal Youth number 3. I apologize to all the Turkish league viewers. These names are going to be butchered to death, and I apologize. Galatasaray Esports number 4, Besiktas Esports number 5, Team Aurora number 6, Bursaspor Esports number 7, Istanbul Wildcats number 8, Dark Passage, which I think is just a cool name, Dark Passage number 9. It's not just because I can easily pronounce it either. And Galacticos number 10. I can't wait to at least hear them, so maybe I'm saying quite a few of those wrong. I apologize sincerely. Turkey is not a language Turkish is not a language I've ever spoken. So my predictions, though, for week 1 for Turkey is Supermassive will take a win off 1907 Fenerbahce, losing Ruin to CLG. I think Supermassive was arguably just as equal as them, just they lost the finals against them. And without Ruin, I think 1907 Fenerbahce going to fall quite a bit. I don't think they're going to fall necessarily down further than second place, obviously, as they have in second. But I think that compared to Supermassive, they're not going to be on the same level as them anymore. Next, I have Besiktas Esports taking a game over Bursaspor. Oof, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I'm gonna just say the abbreviations. I'll make it easy. Like Dark Passage, which I did pick Dark Passage to beat GAL, and I think that Dark Passage, honestly, it's a little just biased towards the name. I saw the power rankings, and they were kind of split between 9 and 10, and I'm like, I kind of like Dark Passage, so I'm going to go with them for the first game, see how it plans out, because I haven't seen these wildcard regions before. I'm super excited to watch them now, before I get my feet wet a bit, before I can actually do some super real analysis about it, kind of like the LMS last split. Game number 4, I have GS taking down IWC. Game number 5, I have Royal Youth taking down Aurora. I can say those names. Those ones are fine. Game number 6, I have BJK over GAL. I have 1907 Fenerbahce. They're taking down BUR. In game number 7. Game number 8, I have Supermassive taking down Royal Youth. And game number 9, I have Aurora taking down IWC. And finally, I have GS taking down Dark Passage in game number 10. And then again, there'll be a little bit more analysis once I get more understanding of the league. But not too much, because we just have so much to talk about. Actually, it's only been 18 minutes. I've been crushing it. Yeah, there'll be more when we talk match history of every league, more so than just, we only did match history for the CBLOL and the OPL. So it'll be longer once we get that, and then we'll have the LJL on top of this next week, and then eventually we'll have Russia at one point as well. Finally, we have the LLA, and let's move over to here and do that and that. And if you want to know what my backgrounds are, I have all of the League of Legends wallpapers downloaded as one. I am not a Zoe main, as you can tell. I just saw that was hovering over there. Never played Zoe in my life. But yeah, it has like 1,000 backgrounds. So it gets a lot of cool ones of fan art sometimes, every now and then. Anyway, LLA. The LOA, my preseason power rankings, I have Isurus number 1 as they were the MSI champs. I have All Knights number 2. Actually, I really like this team. I like the name. I like the logo. I like the players seemed like good. They were first place last play in the regular season. Big fan of this team. I just put Isurus first because I personally, if I know the team a little bit, it makes me feel more comfortable putting them number 1. That's why Infinity Esports is number 3 because I saw them at Worlds last year and they're a decent team. Rainbow 7, I hear about them all the time, so they're number 4. Pixel Esports number 5. X10 number 6. Furious Gaming number 7. I do hear about Chaos Latin Gamers all the time, but I know they're really, really bad right now, so they are number 8. Also, what are you doing, LAL? Like, you play so many games, like, it completely messes up my, like, nice evenness. It's 12-10 to 8 games, 8 games, 8 games. I thought only TCL would have 10 games because you still have 8. Excuse me, you have 8 teams, but you play 12 games. It's kind of weird. Anyway, the predictions. I have Isurus Gaming starting out strong this year, taking down Rainbow 7 for game number 1. I have X10 taking down Furious Gaming in game number 2. I have All Knights taking down Pixel Esports in game number 3. I have Isurus taking down Chaos Latin Gamers in game number 4. All Night taking down X10 in game number 5. Infinity Esports taking down KLG in game number 6. All Night taking down Rainbow 7 in game number 7. I guess, yep, that would be game 7. Pixel taking down KLG in game number 8. Rainbow 7 taking down Furious Gaming in game number 9. Infinity Esports taking down Pixel in game number 10. Isurus taking down... Oops, I spelled that wrong. Isurus taking down Isurus, there we go. Furious Gaming in game number 11 and Infinity Esports taking down X in game number 12. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more analysis to it when there's match history and I actually know the players / play styles just a little bit. like the only team I know for sure is Isurus Gaming because I don't know exactly if Infinity's still the same team as last year. It was at Worlds last year, so I don't know them exactly too great. But yeah, so once we get that, there'll be a lot more detail. This podcast will be much, much longer. I was expecting this podcast will probably go like an hour to possibly 2 hours towards the end of the year once I really get in depth with these teams. But for right now, since I don't know as much about the wildcard regions, I'm just trying to learn and trying to give a little. If you watch these, maybe you don't watch the wildcard regions, and now you'll know a little bit of teams from here. And that's what I'm trying to bring. Fill a little niche spot because I don't see it anywhere online for any of these teams. So hopefully it'll improve, and we'll see you guys on Sunday for the LPL, which IG just got upset 2-0 to Lining, and I was very shocked about that. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for the LPL, or Sunday for the LPL.